The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico de Haan and Paige Clark.
Good morning. I'm Nico de Haan, and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world to recover our natural health and regain our rights and our freedoms. And it's a beautiful morning in downtown St. Petersburg, 50 degrees, going up to about maybe 58, 60. So it's relatively cool for us here in Florida, but it's a beautiful day nonetheless. I'd like to remind you, first of all, pick up our Health Signals newsletter. Whoops, that's this one over here. And also, please pick up our Primal Edge, our One-Shot Wonder. This is something that Paige and I came up with, along with a chemist. And this is something that really helps you get over some of the things that happen in our society, like the flu and the cold, which we'll be talking about. But it's something that helps you keep healthy. It's a one-shot. Takes it all. It's liquid, easy to absorb, and it's all fueled by fulvic and humic acid, which lets the good stuff in and the bad stuff out. And the number here is 877-927-6648. You'll see that Paige is not here today. She's in Austria. She'll be there all week and then coming back next week. So after Christmas, Thursday show, we'll be here Thursday after Christmas and the Thursday after the New Year, until we start the brand new year again. The number here is 877-927-6648. And our Health Signals newsletter is out. I have a new one. And some of the articles in there, drinking beer after a workout, is it a good idea or not? You have to find out and read. We talked about that a couple of shows ago. Also, U.S. life expectancy is declining again, a trend that has not seen since World War I. And one of the things that we realize is that a lot of the suicides and murders and things attributes to this. So those rates have been going up. There's an interesting article about the solar energy at birth can measure your lifespan. And I did this, and on my birth there were 20 sunspots, which is relatively low. They measure 90 as being the medium. So over 90 is high and under 90 is low. And then I went back and looked at the 9 months earlier conception, and there were 2 sunspots. So that means I may have a chance to live a little longer than the average, whatever that may mean. Another article here about our waste is not waste and how different companies deal with waste. And this is one particular company that I have a history with. I've bought many things from them, and they really talk about what they do with their waste. Another article here about prehistoric cave art that really reveals, even though they're drawing animals and things, we are now discovering that they're really talking about things that happened on Earth while they were still alive, like a comet slamming into the Earth, that type of thing. So it may not be just really art for the sake of saying, hey, I can draw an animal. It's something else happened there. Why? Wild plants' ancestors need protection. You know, a lot of the new types of food that we've been eating keeps diminishing because we keep doing the same thing to it. And some of the foods that we really covet, like here we have coffee, a lot of these strains are threatened. So, good article. Here's a different article on the different types of coffee and how they impact your body and your brain. Really cool. We don't have enough organic farms, and why not? Another great article showing you lots of different links in there where you can do your own research. Quite extensive article. Really wanted to get into this heavily because this is very, very important to the future of what we're doing. As we go down here, there's another article here somewhere. Still same one. Exercises that are best for slowing down the aging process. Talked about that last week. And then what we can learn from remote tribes. And of course, we always have our advertising, which is in here someplace too. This thing's not working too well. Biomedic, some coupons here for gift cards from the CBDs, and also the Biome Medic, which takes out glyphosate, very important. And of course, our Primal Edge. So that's the newsletter. I wanted to start today with an article, and I really wanted to give you the premise of the show too. Some of the people that may be new, living a primal lifestyle doesn't mean that we go back to the Stone Age. What it does mean is that we look at life today and compare it with something that happened thousands of years ago. Our ancestors were very, very smart people. That's probably the reason why we're still here, is because they were very smart. They didn't have technology, or had little technology. So when it comes to food and our social structure, our environment, I really like to look back and see what our ancestors did successfully so we can learn from them. There's a lot of things going on in our environment these days, a lot going on in our food, and a lot going on socially, politically. And I think if we look back how our ancestors lived at peace with one another for thousands and thousands of years before the advent of agriculture. And the reason we mention agriculture is because agriculture seems to be the one thing that started the hierarchy system. Before that, people pretty much were equal footing. You had to get your food, you had to build your shelter, you had to make love to people, and you had to share the experience with a lot of other people, your buddies, your family, people you hung out with, people in your tribe. And today, starting with my life, this is the one thing that I can be sure of, that I know that I moved a lot when I was young. My parents moved around a lot. We were immigrants. My dad was constantly looking to better himself, so we moved around because of jobs. Later on in life, we moved because of schools. Lots of things in our society makes us separate from not only our immediate family, but our friends and things like that. So I had to keep making friends over and over again. Just because of that, and that puts a strain on you, I think. I always envied people who had lifetime friends, and don't get me wrong, I still have lifetime friends, people I've known for 30, 40 years, I still hang out with, but some of the ones that are lost are the ones that when I was 8 years old and 6 years old, I don't know those people anymore. And I think there's a big advantage to living with those people, because that's what sets your constitution, that's what really sets you, your standards. Because you're living with these people every day. If you move out to a new thing, all of a sudden you're a new person in a sense. You can kind of start over. I remember my dad saying that a couple of times to me, well, you can start over. Well, starting over may or may not be good. So this is kind of the way we dig into information and start looking back. And, I started this whole journey with just food and talking about the, paleo-styled eating, and I started that almost 11 years ago now, and been pretty successful health-wise. I feel very good, my family feels very good, and we're very content with our lives, even though we're very busy and we're still looking for paradise, of course. That's what we're all looking for. So when we get back, I want to get into this article, how long do cold and flu viruses stay contagious in public places? I think it's an important thing to realize that we're in the flu and cold season, so this is one way to understand what actually is happening, and then maybe we can prevent some of these things from happening to us. So stick around, folks. The number here is 877-927-6648, and I'll be right back. Please pick up some Primal Edge during the break. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Hey, welcome back to the show. So this is the time of season generally that we think about colds and flu, the two things that can attack us. I've heard of summer colds, of course, but this is the time of year that we really think about it. And this is, of course, the time of year when the CDC and everybody else is trying to push these different shots on you for getting rid of the flu and things like that, or preventing it, actually. Before you isolate yourself inside a home and scrub every surface in sight, it says here, you should know that these pathogens usually don't last for days or weeks outside the body. As commercial, you could see commercial products and you see all these little things that for your hands, the washing your hands, and you should be doing this. And I agree that you definitely have to wash your hands before you're touching your nose, but know that these things don't live that long outside the body. And that's because cold and flu viruses, despite their ferocity inside our warm bodies, are structurally wimpy and cannot bear the harsh conditions of a dry outside world. So here's what you should know to protect yourself against the cold and the flu. Most colds are caused by the rhinoviruses, though there are other pathogens, and there's different influenzas and things like that, and there's some different kinds of viruses that can lead to the cold, but all of them can lead to serious complications like bronchitis and pneumonia, and especially in individuals with respiratory conditions like asthma and those people who have a compromised immune system. I'm kind of susceptible to the asthma type of thing also, so I have to really be careful with it. Luckily, I don't have colds very often. Influenza A is the main family of viruses behind the flu in humans, and the CDC estimates that there's 12,000 to 56,000 American deaths are attributed to the flu every single year, while the World Health Organization estimates that the virus will kill up to 650,000 people worldwide. So viruses are non-living pieces of genetic code, DNA or RNA, covered in protein coats known as capsids. Now, flu viruses and many cold viruses also have a viral envelope, meaning that the capsid is covered by two layers of lipids. similar to the cell membranes found on other organisms. Now, viruses can't multiply on their own. They must infect the cell of a living creature. Because they aren't actually living entities, using terms like live and survive to describe viruses outside the body can cause confusion, says the author here, Dr. Anthony Fauci. He's the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease. He says people say, well, a virus can live on a doorknob for 4 days. Well, maybe you can isolate it and grow it in a culture by swabbing the doorknob, but it doesn't mean that it's infectable for 4 days. Maybe you can isolate it and grow it somewhere else, but that doesn't mean that it is viable. Viruses outside the body can be better described as either infectious or identifiable, meaning that the genetic material that was once inside the virus can be detected by way of a lab technique, or this usually is what advertising cleaning products are referring to when they say viruses can survive on surface for days on end. So they're really not surviving as a living creature that can infect you after 3 or 4 days. They will last 24 hours normally, I think. Let's go on with this. Let's say that you have influenza virus on the top of your desk. 5 days later, you take a swab and put it under a molecular machine like a PCR machine. You still find the DNA remnants there. That doesn't mean you have an intact virus. It just means you found the DNA. And an intact virus is necessary for an infection. But this reduces over time, so the capsid, that little coating on there, the viral envelope kind of decays over time. Once weakened, the virus is less able to attach the cells and spread in its genetic material. So what, it stays on materials that are shiny, that are slick, like chrome or aluminum or some type of steel, stainless steel, or maybe a hardwood table that is finished, or mica, those types of things. These viruses can stay there a heck of a lot longer than something that is can absorb it, like a material, like a fabric. Or maybe money, probably money, it will live in a lot longer. So this is where we really get into problems here. So if you're exchanging money with somebody that has the flu, you don't even know it. But if they're sneezing, you know it. And maybe not, who knows. But this is where you probably will get it. So anytime you're touching money, good idea to wash your hands afterwards and not touch your face. That's for sure. So because common colds are caused by a plethora of viruses, research on surface infection rates are harder to nail down. So the flu is a little bit easier. In most cases, no longer than 24 hours are they viable. So the ability to infect is gone after that. So the best surface for killing viruses is our skin. Our skin, in the case of both flu and cold-causing viruses, infectious material placed on our hands are usually gone after 20 minutes. So much for that. So that's pretty cool. So because our hands, I guess, have a ability to just ward it off. So it's not going to be there for 24 hours. So that's why those 20 minutes you need to not touch your face, or you need to wash your hands for sure. Cold and viruses' rapid decline in viability outside the body is thanks to 3 main factors. These are the enveloped structure, environmental conditions, and how much our mucus surrounds it after a sneeze. So our mucus is actually protecting that bug, and this is why if you're sneezing, you're using your hands to cover it or your clothing to cover it, that clothing may actually protect it a little bit more. So washing your hands, staying away from, when you're covering your face and that with your clothing, probably you need to do that too. Viruses tend to be more stable in environments where they're known to reproduce. If they live in a warm, moist environment, for example, inside your nostrils, inside your throat, your bronchial tree, they're more stable. But when they're exposed to different materials, non-moist environment, they can break down pretty fast. This is why cold and flu viruses remain infectious on non-porous surfaces like light switches, countertops longer than porous furniture, or porous fabrics like even your tissues. Porous surfaces sucks the moisture away from the viruses, causing the structure to collapse. So, so that's pretty cool. So some non-porous porous surfaces serve as ideal havens for the virus, but they do, after about 9 hours on stainless steel, it's still there, but on a porous surface, it can be gone in a matter of hours, 20 minutes on your skin. How to protect yourself, because flu viruses don't often last beyond 9 hours. Suggests public places like classrooms, offices, kitchens will usually be free of contaminations the next morning. Things like chlorine, hydrogen peroxide, soaps, detergent, alcohol-based gels all kill these viruses. So even if viruses seem to disappear quickly, don't let your guard down. They still recommend a flu shot, of course. I don't, but you have to make up your own mind about that. I notice in the news a lot of people are staying away from these flu shots now. So the things that we've been saying and other people have been saying, and of course you now see a lot of different videos on pro or con to viruses, and this is where you can make up your own mind. I'm fine with not having a flu shot. It may be important for some people. It may not. I do not know. I don't have that knowledge. But for myself, it's been pretty well working out the last 10 years without the flu shot. So that's what I'm going to be continuing doing. Stick around, folks. Got a lot more. I'll be right back. Notice that Paige isn't here. She'll be back next Thursday for our show after Christmas. I'll be right back.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. The Taz Profile Scanner is the most revolutionary piece of trading software that you will ever try. Wouldn't you like to approach the markets with confidence? As you begin your trading day, it's likely that you'll be faced with lots of decisions. In order to make the best decision, the first thing you'll need is a strategy that will help you minimize your risks. Whether we're in a bull or bear market, a good strategy is to have the tools needed to help you scan and analyze the markets before you trade. The Taz Profile Scanner instantly scans and filters over 2,500 global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, president of Taz Market Profile, the Taz Profile Scanner understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications, automated trading algorithms, and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. Whether you're looking at the trade matrix, the ETF heat grid, the market breadth, the landscape charts, or the many other features of the Taz Profile Scanner, this is a piece of software that will revolutionize how you look at the markets and set up your trades. The team at Taz has even put together a 12-part video series to walk you through every aspect of the Taz Profile Scanner, which you can find directly on the Taz order page at tfnn.com. Sign up now for only $97 a month with a risk-free 30-day trial, so you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. See for yourself how you can harness the full power of the Taz Profile Scanner by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the Taz Profile Scanner under the Services section. Remember, with a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Don't let another day pass you by without trying out this amazing piece of software that will revolutionize how you look at the market and how you place trades. Sign up today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome welcome back to the show. I have an article here. One of the things that we did before agriculture, of course, we got all our food from the wild, and I say that most of it was probably animal food, with less of it being the plants and things like that. I think our ancestors used plants as a seasoning for the meat, maybe as an extending the meat a little bit when times were tough. Colder times, no animals around, you have a drought, those types of things. But everything else was pretty much just grown. The animals were wild, the food was wild, and it was a pretty good system. Then somebody came along with the idea of planting certain things, and I'm sure this happened over hundreds of thousands of years, perhaps, I don't know. But we started planting some things. We were successful at that. Maybe we found ways of drying them out and keeping them over long, hot winters. Whatever the case is, we started the agriculture, and agriculture kind of led to the type of society we have today, with people in charge of locking up the food and then distributing the food. And these are governments, probably churches did this. If we lived in a city, you had an organization there that kept the food in stores for emergency purposes. And if they wanted to control the people a little bit more, maybe they locked up more of the food and gave them less, just to control the population. And this is kind of the way our society seemed to grow up, until the technology changed, where we started using oil-based products as fertilizers and as pesticides and things like that. So that came about during I think really, maybe the late 1800s, we started using these things, and we really started using them extensively after World War II. This is when the breadbasket kind of really expanded, I would say. So now I have an article here that organic food is worse for the planet. So we have two types of things going on. One is taking really good care to make sure that they're not using pesticides, they're not damaging the food, and they're using types of controls that are much more natural. So they're maybe not planting one thing, they may be planting different types of crops in different rows, because the insects won't see them as easily. If you grow one big plot of acre of one thing, the insects are going to see it, and they're going to say smorgasbord. So this is an article talking about that. Organic farms have become a bigger climate impact. And when they say climate impact, now we're talking about CO2 again, something that I really, as I dive into it, I don't see it the same way. I don't see CO2 rising much higher than it's ever been. I have charts in my research that I've looked at that say CO2, which was much higher thousands and thousands of years ago. But either case, whatever camp you're in, it doesn't really make any difference. If you want to be healthy, you're going to have to eat organic, because there's a huge difference in how this food affects you. But they're showing here that it takes much more land, and that makes sense. If you're going to be planting something, you don't want it too close to the next row. You want it protected, and they're using all kinds of different protections too. Our study shows that organic peas farmed in Sweden have around 50% bigger climate impact than conventionally farmed peas. For some foodstuff, there's even a bigger difference. For example, with organic Swedish wheat, winter wheat, the difference is close to 70%. The reason why organic food is so much worse for the climate is that the yields per acre are much lower, primarily because fertilizers are not used. Produce the same amount of organic food, you therefore need much bigger area of land. The groundbreaking aspect of a new study is the conclusion that this difference in land usage results in organic food causing much more of a higher, larger climate impact. The greater land use in organic farming leads indirectly to higher carbon dioxide emissions thanks to deforestation. So it's really deforestation that's causing the problem in the first place, isn't it, folks? The world's food production is governed by international trade. So how we farm in Sweden, of course this was written in Swedish, influenced deforestation in the tropic. If we use more land for the same amount of food, we contribute indirectly to bigger deforestation elsewhere in the world. And this is where I see the problem. The problem is the deforestation, and not so much that we have to use pesticides to make it viable for us to eat food. It doesn't make any sense to me. So it's the impact of cutting down these trees, and then the land becomes pretty much useless except for growing. I mean, it takes thousands of years to come back, hundreds of years, I would say, not thousands. But if you remember, I talked extensively one time a couple of years ago about Indiana, and Indiana was a forest state. It was one of the largest states with the most forests at all, and it took just 20 years for the white man to make it look like it is today, which is little stands of trees here and there, and the rest is almost looks like prairie land, but it's farmland, of course. So we have really decimated the planet with deforestation, and that's where I see the problem being. And we do this for agriculture, and more people, the thing is eat less meat, so that means you have to eat more plant. That means you have to cut more trees down because we have to have room to grow these things. It's a wild, wild ride, and I don't see it leading to anything good. But there are new technologies these days that are coming about, so I want to cover that in the next section. The fact that more land use leads to greater climate impact has not often been taken into account in earlier comparisons with organic or conventional food. He says, the author here says this is a big oversight because our study shows this effect is many more times bigger than the greenhouse gas effects which are normally included. It is also serious because today in Sweden we have political goals to increase production of organic food. If these goals are implemented, the climate influence from Swedish food production will probably increase a lot. And it's not, of course, not just in Sweden, but everywhere else. There are surely many reasons for this. An important explanation, I think, is simply to an earlier lack of good, easy application methods for measuring our effect. Our new method of measuring allows us to make broad environmental comparisons with relatively ease. So these studies, they say, are much better than the old studies, so now we can learn from this. And this type of food is often more important, he says. This is the people can simply switch to buying non-organic food. He says, for example, eating organic beans or organic chicken is much better for the climate than to eat it conventionally produced beef. Our organic food does have several advantages compared with food produced by conventional methods. For example, it is better for farm animals' welfare. It's better for the earth. It's better for lots of things, but it's not better for us because we're increasing the CO2. The whole thing really doesn't make a lot of sense. So there's a real conflict here between should we use fertilizers, shouldn't we use fertilizers? Well, there are organic fertilizers that you can use. So the thing is biofuels. If we start using more biofuels, of course, we need more farmland, and the whole thing kind of snowballs, doesn't it? So all fluids or fuels are made from soybeans and wheat and things like that. So corn is a big one. Sugar cane you can use. Biodiesel from palm oil is another one. Rapeseed and soy. So many things you can use. Does it make sense to do that when there's so much oil around? That's another question too, because it seems like the oil is replenishing itself. And I've read several articles that people can actually see some of these things rising from the fires in California, producing a lot of oil out of those trees. Stick around, folks. Got a lot more. Next section, we're going to go a little bit into how we can grow a little bit differently for organics. So stick around. I'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back to the show. Number here is 877-927-6648. If you'd like to make a call. Talking about organic, and this is, of course, hydroponics, and there's several different ways of looking at this. But the United States is unlike most countries or regions in that our organic certification can legally be extended to crops that are not grown in soil. Hydroponic and aquaponic produce is typically grown in perpetually flowing water in which the nutrients are dissolved. And in the U.S., some farms using this method can be certified organic. Now, proponents of the hydroponic organic certification say that their farms can have more energy and more water efficient than the soil-based farms, and they can reduce transportation costs by being built basically anywhere, including indoors, smack in the middle of cities, and they are just as sustainable and eco-friendly as any traditional farm. Now, the other side says that they want organic certification to be restricted to soil-based farms and sees hydroponic organics as a victory for a spooky sort of agriculture controlled by corporation that perverts the very soul of the organic movement. I have to go on the side of the hydroponics because if you're using water and you're feeding that water the humic and fulvic acids and the other nutrients that are in the soils, there's no difference, folks, and it might be even better. It's a great delivery system. I did a little search on Google. Let me see if I can find that here. Yeah, here it is. These are all the different methods that are being used, and this is really worldwide. And the nice thing about these things is they grow vertically, so they grow up instead of, wide or lengthwise. And you can stack them on top of each other. There's a lot of companies involved in this. Some of them are organic and some of them are not. But certainly organic is the way to go. And this is the way I think that we're going to, in the future, we're going to leave our forests alone and leave them for the wild animals so we can hunt them. Hopefully, that's the way I see it anyway. And then we can go to different systems that use this. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were mentioning a thing about back in World War II, we had things called victory gardens, and these were gardens in the front and backyards of people in the United States, and because food was being scarce and people were encouraged to grow, so the cities were allowing people to grow vegetables. I don't think you can do that today in most places in your front yard or even in your backyard. So this may come to be. I've been talking about the grand solar minimum, and if the weather is going to get colder, or even if it's going to get hotter, these are ways that we can do indoors, and maybe tap into the water system and make a room out of it. You can grow a lot of things in there, and this would really enhance the intake of protein when you've got some really good herbs and some really good vegetables, and maybe even some fruits here, things like that. But you can see that there's all kinds of different systems that people are growing. I've seen some systems which are kind of on a treadmill type of thing. So the lamp would be up here, and the water would be on the side here, and these would be in trays, and they'd be just slowly rotating, getting exposure to the sun for a certain amount of time, and then getting exposure to the water, and the water kind of drips down and is recycled and reconstituted. So a lot of good methods here, and I think this is the future for organics. And I think organics are the way to go, certainly. We don't want pesticides. We don't want foreign things in there. We don't want to feed our animals with stuff that we wouldn't eat ourselves. I like cows eating green grass. This is what they do. And if the cows are in the wintertime, they need to be eating the hay. Not as nutritious as that grass, but it's the next best thing. Now, if we start growing things inside, who knows what we can do? Maybe we can supply these cows with green grass all year around if we just grow it hydroponically. A lot of these large buildings that we can construct, we can put an atrium right in the center of those things. How many hotels have those beautiful large atriums that are just going to waste? The only thing that's in there is a restaurant and a bar and a few other things, and kids running around everywhere. It'd be nice to see some growth in there where they can actually use that in the hotel. There's lots of possibilities for this type of thing. I know DAP 2030, David Dubine has a company that deals in hydroponics, so that's another good source. So we have plenty of people that are, look at this one here, this picture, see if I can click on it. This is growing vertically. And imagine a large warehouse. In large cities these days, I know when I go back to Detroit, visit my kids, there's still a lot of warehouses down there that are just completely empty, and I'm sure every large city has that. Imagine what we could do with spaces like that. We don't have to knock down trees and go down to Brazil and ruin the forests. We can just live like we live normally and treat the people fair, too. So this is for the future. Hydroponics and other technologies like it have captured the imagination of farmers for decades. The technologies enable young farmers, increasing in numbers, who live in cities to create hyper-local farms that actually produce solid yields. Some systems incorporate big fish tanks, which are strung together with the plants to create an ad hoc sort of systems. Some people are even using the fish tanks to actually grow like tilapia and things like that. So I would say that, we need to, sorry about that, forget to do that once in a while. But this is a good method, and I think that we should, do this for sure. So I think maybe looking into some hydroponics to buy yourself, and maybe setting up a little area in your house. So first maybe start with growing some herbs, things like that, some easy things that maybe you've already started outside in your garden, and try to do it inside. And these heat lamps are relatively inexpensive. We're talking about the infrared lamps. I think they're like $15, last about 3,000 hours. So, they last a long time. Usually if you have them on continuous, they last about 3 years. So relatively inexpensive to start a project like this. And of course, there's lots of things being grown in that, and these days, with the legalization of marijuana, in many states, they're using hydroponics to grow the marijuana or even the hemp plant, and producing CBDs and other things for medicine these days. So this is something that's really good. Let's see what else it says here. There is no conclusion on the future of organics. It's a complete mess without proper education to ensure that the customer know or care about the difference between conventional, organic, hydroponic, sustainable hydroponic, and who knows what else, as well as stricter rules to ensure that those labels actually mean what the customer thinks they means. We're stuck with basically what we have, which is kind of a free-for-all. Both sides have a point, they say. How can we ensure that we both get what they deserve? Well, we have to kind of work this out, but I don't see any problem with not using soil as long as you still have the ingredients that are important for the plant. It doesn't really make a difference to me which way it is. So that's the way it is. Okay, I'd like to remind you, first of all, pick up our Primal Edge. You know, this is something that Paige and I worked out about a year on. It has over 310 organic, cell-ready liquid ingredients. Everything we use in here are organic. And the fulvic and humic acid that supplies the power is what we really want. And the humic acid is a great detoxifier, and the fulvic acid is the thing that tells your cell to open up and let the good stuff in. So this is something that you really need to do. It's $89 to your door every single day. You can get it on the TFNN website. So stick around, folks. Got another segment. I'll be right back.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
TFNN has put together the best lineup of live content for traders by traders every market day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected minds in the business. TFNN broadcasts 5 days a week live from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We have live programming every market day during market hours. Every morning, Larry Pesavento kicks off the trading day live at 9 a.m. and breaks down the opening bell with Trade What You See. At 10 a.m., Tom and Tommy O'Brien host the TFNN Bull Bear Trading Hour, followed at 11 a.m. by the team at TD Ameritrade and Thinkorswim with Fast Market. Basil Chapman hosts the Tiger Technicians Hour at noon, Steve Rhodes at 1 p.m. with the Trader's Edge, Dave White at 2 p.m. with the Power Trading Hour, and Tom O'Brien anchors the daily lineup from 3 till 5 as host of the Tom O'Brien Show. Tune in to TFNN's Tiger TV on your computer or mobile device, and you can always find us streaming on YouTube. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Chad, welcome back to the show. We've got a little time left, and I wanted to go over this article, What Happens When You're Convinced You Have Bad Genes. And to find out, they came up with a kind of, and this, where the heck, this was Stanford University here in California. They came up with a devious approach. The placebo effect for comparison is rooted in psychology. When somebody takes a sugar pill and reports less pain, his brain is actually releasing their natural endorphins, you know, which are the painkillers in itself. So the Stanford team devised 2 experiments. About half the participants got a result, a fake one, for a gene linked to exercise, and then they had to run on a treadmill. Then the other half got a result for a gene linked to hunger, and then they had to drink a 480 calorie smoothie. They were told they had the worst version of genes. So they were actually given fake information, and they just wanted to see what the results were. So the people that were given genes and said, your genes are really bad genes, you really need to, get on the ball here and do it. So he says what happened was the half got a result linked to hunger, and one got a result. It's kind of confusing here. So let's see, in their study decided to straight up give participant a random genetic result. So this deception was that you're going to get a result saying that you have bad genes. And when you get a result that says you have bad genes, all of a sudden you react to that, and this is the way you live your life, is what they're saying. So compared with their initial baseline test, people who were told they had high-risk version of this gene ran for less time than before. So when they were told before everything's okay, you're going to run, now you're taking the test and you say, well, you got a bad gene, you need to exercise more, they actually ran less. And this is psychologically, this is really bad. People who ran on treadmills wore masks, they measured the oxygen. So this was quite a good test. People who drank the smoothies had their blood drawn to test for more hunger level hormones. So the information really says that your brain is stronger than you think. If you think you're bad, and you may be even going down the rabbit hole, going to worse. And if you think you're good, you're good. So positive attitude, hey, that's what I've always had, and I take that with me anywhere I go, and I think it's a good thing because I think it really does help me. Thanks for sticking around, folks. Have a Merry Christmas. We'll see you Thursday after Christmas with my partner, Paige. Stick around. See you then. Bye.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters.